Hi guys! So, I suppose for this moment we have only a couple of users, but I need to tell something while we are waiting for another viewers. So, it's our first stream that called Devblog, and we'll have such kind of streams uh, two two times per month. It will be closely related to our internal weekly reviews, and closely after that we will share with you what we done for this week, for months, and maybe something more interesting that Sasha will.
Yeah, in the end of the video we will show Cascader Mobile, like a really small teaser. We plan to make a better video to share on social media, but for now we just will show a small teaser, especially for those who are subscribed, who go and watch our streams. So yeah, hi everybody. Yeah, and this time we are going to show everything that was done in the last month. So it's like basically 2 times larger than it will be in the future. And I think if you like this format, this new format, then we will do it every 2 weeks when we have our reviews. And between that, we will do like my technical streams that cover different technical information about rigging, about node editor, and the architecture of Cascadeur. Okay, so let's start. Because today we have a pretty long video, and so what was done in the last month in the development of Cascadeur. Yeah, right from the start, I just want to tell you that you will see CSC and a number, and that means that is the number of the internal task that is inside the Jira, which we use as a task tracker. You will also see this words core, UI, rigging, physics, and ML, which ML stands for machine learning. And these words basically mean what type of issue it was. Core means like the core of the program, the tools, the main tools that the program has, and the inner part of the program, like interpolation, update. UI means that it's basically the UI of the program, and rigging, I think it's pretty self-obvious, and physics too, but machine learning basically stands for all the algorithm connected to machine learning, and for us right now it's mostly auto-posing, although we are developing new algorithms, but they won't be shown in this video. Okay, so with that being said, let's start with the fixes. Yeah, and another word about the fixes. I did not figure out, there are a lot of bug fixes. I did not test every bug fix. Was it present in the early access or it wasn't? If I know, I will tell. If I don't know, I will tell how I think, but I will say that I'm not sure about it. Okay, so now at last, let's start and see how the video actually looks. Okay, so center of mass log fix. It means there was an issue if you had some parts of the body locked, fixed, and you fix the center of mass, then you get this behavior. So this was fixed, and now even if you something is fixed and you fix center of mass, nothing jumps, everything is stable. Okay, I will speed down and up sometimes. Okay, so twist support for joint hierarchy. Oops, sorry. What happens? Okay. Maybe it's not working as smoothly as it did because I'm streaming and via Discord and other stuff. Okay, so let's just pause here for a second. Twist support for straight joints hierarchy. So straight joints hierarchy, what we mean here is that there are sometimes rigs which have hierarchy like this, and then the hand. And so this is the elbow, and this is the hand, and between them the twist is not childed. The hand is not childed to the elbow as it is here. So here the hand is childed to the elbow, but sometimes the hand is the child of the twist. And in hierarchies like this, you couldn't create our twist controllers because they were tied to this joint hierarchy. And even if you our idea was that then you change the proto-union hierarchy, the box controller hierarchy, and then you can apply the twist controller, but you still couldn't because we binded our twist controller to the joint. So even if the hierarchy for the box controllers is different, still it tries to grab the twist from the joint and a cycle appears. So what we did here is that we changed this behavior, and now if you have box controllers, the twist controller, it uses the rotation of the box controller of the hand, and the box controller can be placed in the correct hierarchy without changing the joints hierarchy. And obviously you don't want to change the joints hierarchy because you will export your animation back into the game engine or elsewhere. So that's how it works. Yeah, and here it is not demonstrated with so it's like a very basic test because it's not demonstrated with a skeleton that has this kind of hierarchy. Instead, it just is demonstrated that the binding in the node editor actually goes from the box controller. Okay, default track hierarchy from quick rigging tool. So here,
Sasha, 1 second, please. Salute IG. Maybe you will able to comment by voice what you're writing in chat about this bone twist.
you can read from the chat, Ilya.
Okay, so
If
guys were writing like this. It's like in ADAS 3D. It's about inlaid twist bones, and for example, Solid Cloud. He's not a fan of this bone stuff.
I'm sorry.
No, do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't know. I'm not Solid Cloud, but I think it's a complicated setup. But the fact that you support it, it's great.
Oh, thank you.
There are programs that you don't have choice. They export always this kind of setup inline leaf bones. So like that does 3D.
Yeah.
You cannot change it. So the fact that Cascadeur will support it, it's very very awesome because it's very difficult to do anything with those in other programs.
Okay.
Hey guys, it's solid here. Just wanted to agree with you. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the layout, but it's great that you guys support it because it is a pain whenever we run into a rig that was generated that actually has this bone hierarchy. And kudos for fixing that. We're aiming to have that in the next build.
Yeah, it will be everything. All the features and bug fixes I will cover here. They all will be in the next build. Yeah, and I think with sometime probably after the release, we will start to release builds basically like once in 2 weeks because people who want to test the new builds will be able to test them, and I think that will be great for the feedback, etc. But we're right now really concentrated on the release, but after that I think we will try to create this intermediate builds also. Okay, yeah, and of course we want to support DAS. They actually mentioned us in their blog, so we want to be really DAS friendly. So it's okay. So getting back to the features, yeah, and also guys, thanks for coming. Yeah, I wasn't sure it will be that interesting at Devblog, but yeah, thanks for coming a lot. So okay, finally back. So default track hierarchy from quick rigging tool. So what we did here is that we actually, if you use the quick rigging tool, you still don't have the. Okay, so here we see how we use the quick rigging tool, and now you have this additional option, create on default layers. So if you press it, then by the way, default layers, it should be default tracks, because we call inside in the program we call it layers, but outside in the documentation everywhere we call them tracks. So the standard hierarchy we have in our standard models, like the body, head, and legs and arms will be created. And so you can see here that it is created. By the way, it generates an additional folder, which I think is not nice. So I think we'll need some fixes in this feature, but mostly it's working. Okay, let me speed up a bit. And now you can see the hierarchy. Generation of product components for joints with namespaces. So I think we will skip this kind of stuff pretty fast. There was just a bug with generation whenever you have namespaces. So this will be fixed. Okay. Now another problem we had is that if you deleted some joints in the rig mode, the scene got completely damaged and you couldn't leave the rig mode, even if you deleted all the product components connected to those joints. So now this is fixed. You can delete it. You can see here we delete the product components, we delete the joints, and the rig is created and it works. Okay, so complex regular function creation. Basically, this means that you can create a function and automatically create data that the function will output. You'll see here there's a special option, a special switcher for this option. So if it's on, then we create a function. And you can see that for every output of the function, data is created, which is convenient. Okay, so also what was added is segmental scale compensation. I actually already featured it. So basically it scales every segment independently. So this is nice if you want to use scale and then IK based rig like ours. Okay, I'll speed it up a bit. The only problem we right now see is that FBX seems like FBX does not support segmental scale compensation, and as far as I know from the 3D programs that most of our users use, only Maya supports it and Unreal Engine, and I'm not sure Blender supports it. Maybe it supports it in some way, and Unity doesn't support it as far as I know. Okay, so connection visualization bug. It was just a bug if two nodes were close, the visualization worked really bad, and so now it got fixed. You can see that it works pretty good. Okay, so there were problems that if you had a really long name, that in property editor you wouldn't see this name really good. It's a pretty minor thing, but you can see now we will apply it, and now you can see it, and if you hover over it, you will get a pop-up which shows the full name. Okay, so colors in the dark theme. This was actually reported in Discord, and yeah, it was completely unreadable, but now this is fixed, and you can see that the colors are pretty nice. You can actually see them, read them. Okay, IKFK from timeline for points. It's a feature, so there's a new option. You can see it here for like IKFK from timeline. It's called IKFK from timeline, and if you turn it on, then the points will actually read their status from timeline and behave on frame as the setting, based on the setting you have on the timeline. So you can see here that we will apply this status. Okay, let's speed it up now. So we turn it on. Now it's set several keys. We move the hand. You can see the points are in IK mode, and now we changed. Okay, it's not very convenient. Now we changed the key status to FK, and it was FK, and now we changed back to IK, and we will see that it is in IK mode. Okay, so this was actually a bug that we discovered when I was getting ready for my first stream, and we found out that you can't set objects for inside the behavior editor, which is not convenient, and so we fixed it, and now you can actually set them and see them. Okay. Now there's a problem with the physical data, that if you like you have all these points, right? And usually you set Bezier interpolation for the points, but if you set Bezier interpolation, then the Bezier interpolation will get like it will work for all the datas that are inside this point. And that actually means that it will work for the data that are used by the physics tools too, and that means that they can go negative because Bezier like sometimes interpolates like okay, let me just pause and kind of show it that you know, you can have some values, and automatical Bezier tangents, they try to make Bezier as smooth as possible, and they can go, for example, below these values. Suppose these values are 0, then that actually means that it goes into the negative domain, and sometimes physics, the auto physics tool could just break because of it. and so that will not happen. We made a special option and we applied this option to this data, and if this option is on, then this data is always interpolated as linear. So there are now no problems like that. Okay, constraint tuning for points. So here the constraints have some additional options, and also these options are now visible if you select the point itself. They're visible in the point local controller tab. Okay. So now you can basically change them when you select the points. You can see them here. Okay, let us speed up a bit. Okay, and now physics. So we added a new option. Actually, we tried to add it like the first try we have. I think it's I think it's not present in the early access version because it worked very bad, and we didn't do it. We didn't release it. We just made this tab invisible, but it was based on what's called balance controller. And the idea was that suppose you have this character jumping and you want to keep his leg as it was in the original animation when he jumps and kicks with the leg. But the character is rotated to make his animation physically accurate. So now there was a task that we implemented that actually helps you change this behavior. You can select the leg and say preserve global rotation, and the leg will preserve its global rotation. Like here you can see that the original character was rotated like this, and you can see that to make animation physically accurate, the character was rotated a lot, like in this direction, but the leg is kept as it was in the original animation, and the other body basically compensates for the leg to keep the leg in this position. Okay.
There is one question from YouTube, by the way.
Okay.
What is difference between F key on frame and F key on interpolation in point controller settings?
Oh, if you have FK on, well, it's pretty straightforward. So keys are frames that actually hold the value of the data, and in interpolation the data gets interpolated. And so FK on frame means that the value that is stored on the frame is the FK, the data that is stored in the K is the FK data. So it's local to the parent. And if it's IK, then it's the IK data that is stored in the frame. And in interpolation, it means if it's FK, then the FK data is interpolated. And if it's IK, then the IK data is interpolated. So it's pretty straightforward, but yes, I think sometimes people connect these two and you can't change them independently, but in Cascader you can change. So you can have IK key and then FK interpolation, and that is valid. Okay, hope I answered the question. Go further. So this is the physics. This was the physics tool. Okay, here I think some shortcuts were fixed, a bunch of shortcuts. I think I'll go pretty fast through it. Some shortcuts were added for the trajectories. Also, here we can see that there was a bug. I think this bug is present in early access because it was for a long time. Oh, I'm sorry. And now this bug got fixed, and this tangent is working good. This is what it actually was. Okay, a new set of shortcuts for the camera FOV, and now here's a demonstration how it actually changes. Okay, trajectory edit mode, it was in the toolbar here at the top of the program, and now it got moved here, to the scene settings because it was very large. You can see that the UI is still not ideal. We will fix that before the release, but yeah, it's more compact now. It was very huge here in the toolbar. If you opened it, you couldn't see any other buttons, so I think it's good that it got moved here. You can change different settings. Okay, the viewport is not ideal. Okay, now here there was actually a very large refactoring, because of which everything is a bit broken right now, but the aim was to change how the viewport control, the viewport input settings work. And before we had this number of settings and other stuff it was not possible to customize it, and now we have much more ability to customize everything, all the controls in the viewport. And now you won't need to hold Alt to zoom the camera in and out, so you will be able. There was an architectural bug that prevented us from making this, for making the zoom using the middle mouse button, like without holding Alt. Okay, now a new layout system, a new window system. You can see how it works here. Okay, you can speed it up a bit, so you can move it and you can insert it anywhere, and you can actually insert it as a move it out as a separate window. But I have to say that probably what people need the most is to take out the viewport and move it to the other screen, and this is not yet supported, sadly. You can move out everything else, but the viewport, we have some problems with it, and we hope to fix it by the next release, but it is not working for now. Okay, let us move further. Yeah, sorry, some parts are too long. Okay.
I can tell some comments from YouTube. The Tony, quick silver slash, said that that's a nice graph editor bug fix.
Okay.
And Dragbeer, Stoic, I suppose he's very happy with window docking. And as far as I remember, window docking was one of most wanted features in previous questions.
Okay, that's nice. We put a lot of effort for doing it, but it's still not ideal, probably. Yeah, but it's pretty hard actually, a pretty large feature, to be honest. Okay, so maybe any other comments? I think we better cover them now. Nope. Okay, then let's go further.
Previous comment from Solid about tracks. So was from making all the tracks later. It I suppose was about how this feature was called. Oh my god, I forgot.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think we can.
yeah, it was in previous, and he is looking forward to playing with that scaling that you showed before.
Yeah, yeah. Although, like, we tried to research it, but we didn't see how it can be transferred via FBX. So you have to kind of export, import into Maya, for example, and then turn it on again. But after you turn it on, everything works good inside Maya. But for now, it is not supported by the rig, by the way. It's just on the bones.
And by the way, I want to remind all guys that are active in our Discord and Twitter or in other activities that someone of you will get possibility to receive pre-release version of next update, like by week or 2 weeks before release, and you will able to say to give us feedback before anyone.
Yeah. And we'll be very happy and thankful for that. Okay, so let's continue, because we covered only a third, I think, even less. So here, this is basically another bug fix, that if you had trajectory edit mode and you deleted an object, for example, you went into the rigging mode and all the rig got deleted, then the program crashed, and now it doesn't crash anymore. It just deactivates the trajectory edit mode. Okay. There was another bug that interpolation disappeared when the frame was moved, and now it got fixed. Okay, another, I don't know if it was a bug, I think it was just not supported, that if you import animation on to this, no, I think it was a bug. If you import animation to the selected frames, importing started from the, imported had to start from the first frame of the selection. Okay, maybe it was a feature, I don't know, I'll be honest. But now what you can do basically is that you can import animation from FBX, and you can import it to selection, selected frames, and it will actually start from where the selection starts, so you can easily combine two animations. Oh, I see. Okay, so you could do that, but if you didn't have any frames to the right, it didn't work. So now you don't have to key and then import animation. You can just select it, select the frames, and it will import the animation. You can see now how the animation basically works. Okay, so it was.
1 second. It also was a small teaser because of this animation is made by Grigori, who is making some animations for our Twitter, and full animation will be released soon, maybe next week or week after.
Okay. So here, this is just basically again, I don't know, a bug or a non-working feature that Ballistics, it was not possible to hide ballistics using the V button, the V shortcut, and now you can hide them. Yeah, it just wasn't supported. And also there were bugs with editing the ballistics, and now it works too. When you move the whole ballistic, it works correctly. But I think this bug was not present in early access, so it's not very interesting for us. Okay, auto pausing, again a bug that is not interesting because it wasn't in early access, but the rotations of the foot were not kept constant, and now this is fixed. And like if they're blue, if they're locked, then they will not change. Okay, so there was a crash. I think this one was present in the early access. If you put auto key and you go to the right of the last key and try to edit the pose, the program crashed, and now it doesn't. Okay, another problem we had is that pivot was incorrectly calculated in interval edit mode. So if you turn this on, dynamic pivot, and try to rotate, you can see that the trajectory breaks. That's because pivot was calculated incorrectly. And now, okay, so it shows how it broke. And now you can rotate it. Everything works nice. It doesn't keep its form because here only 4 keys are rotated, but everything works correctly. Okay, so here we demonstrated on an animation that is under NDA, so I'll have to demonstrate it myself. But I've prepared everything beforehand, so it won't be a problem. So before, and this is actually present in the early access version, and it was reported already several times, I think, in Discord, that if you have here I have basically just one object, here is its position, and okay, let me hide this so it doesn't distract you. Maybe I'll switch to dark theme. So here is its position, and you can see we have the same position in the frames 43 and 48. But if you put clamp interpolation, it still moves between these frames that have the same value, because clamp interpolation did not work with directions which are used, for example, in the spine of the character. They're used for the pole vectors, and so now in our inner versions, okay, let me put dark mode here too. Now you can actually now if you have the same values, then the clamp interpolation will not move anything between these values. So it works better, and actually works basically now directions support clamp interpolation, so pole vectors will work correctly, etc. Okay. Okay. I don't have preview. Okay. So the next one, so there was a bug. I think this one is present in early access. Even if interval edit mode, which is an option you turn on here, is off, still moving pivot mode. I called it somehow differently before, but this small thing It's called moving pivot mode. Okay, we highlight it because it's so small. So this setting, it actually had effect even if the interpolated mode was off, and that could like really distract you and you won't understand why everything is not working, and that was because of the setting. And now the setting only works in the interrelated mode. Yeah, because actually it took the pivot somewhere from like the it applied pivot from the selection when the pivot had to go not from the selection but from the current frame. Okay, so here there were some bugs when you put a zero mass or very small mass to the rigid bodies in the rig mode. There was an unreadable error, and now it's much more readable. Okay, so it's basically written here. Now there was also a bad unreadable error when you try to create a product component with a rigid body after a product component that only has box, and that is not possible in our rig, and so now the error is straightforward. Now this was actually reported in Discord that proto objects, they had FK behavior, and usually when you edit for example the position of this point and this rigid body, you don't want the all the arms, the head, all its children to move, so by default it now has FK behavior, but you can switch this behavior here in the 3D node properties, and now we'll see a demonstration how the behavior is switched. So we select, turn it on, and the behavior is changed. Okay, so custom transformed data is set for the direction controllers. Again, this is demonstrated via node editor, but actually it was done to allow to copy and paste direction controllers easily. So if you copy and paste them and the points, they will be pasted correctly and will have exactly the same location. Okay, so another task, another feature here is that we now behavior editor now supports so behavior editor now supports setting functions, and you can actually see that here setting function is applied, and also you can set them via behavior editor, and it was not possible before. Although it was possible via scripts, you couldn't see it in node editor and behavior editor, and it was very confusing. Okay, so shortcuts for node editor. Also requested thing in the Discord, and here we use T to target the nodes. Okay, the only problem is that Ctrl Z is not working, Ctrl Z is not working for now, but we'll fix it, I hope. Okay, so now another thing that actually affects only those who do the rigs. Inside node editor before we had all our data for the for objects. We had them all here right inside the object, and now they're moved inside the basic update group, and these are data like visibility, selectability, etc., which we see in this basic behavior. And yeah, so now they're not making a mess in the root of the object, they're hidden. Okay, so there was a problem that for some points that are not connected to joints, if you put them on a separate track and you go into the rig mode and then you go back, then the points will be placed on a different layer, and here now the points are always placed on the correct layer, and this is demonstrated here for the for this point that is placed on the, I don't know, in the foot. Okay, now this is basically a very simple thing. It's just the default settings are the same for the character mirror plane and for the character, I think it's called mirror group, mirror plane in the mirror group. Okay, now this is a new script that was added. Go to origin. It was like in Discord, there was a question if there's a way to make the character go to the origin, and so we just created a script. It is actually pasted in the thread and the help channel. So this is just an implementation for this functionality. Okay, so here we improved the spline IK, and it was working correctly. It was like extrapolating the twist, and now it works correctly without extrapolating. Okay, so the default behaviors that are visible and invisible were changed. 3 behaviors got invisible and 1 got visible, I think. But I think we won't go into details, or it will be too much. Okay, so switch yellow filter, which works not very nicely right now in early access 2, unfortunately. Now it works correctly and it doesn't give any errors. So if there are any rotations in the object, it changes them, so the yellow filter will not be applied to them. But if there aren't, it doesn't say anything, doesn't give any errors, just doesn't do anything. And one more thing we did is we changed the JSON format. It's still the same, like the same file, the same format, but we changed it, just the file type from .json to .rigcask, so you just don't so it's easy to see which files are actually Cascader rig. You can still open them with any text editor and edit and see the inside, but now you can easily see them inside the folder. Okay, so here the secondary motion, it was fixed right now, and this is present in the early access too, unfortunately. If you put forward kinematic behavior, you still get this problem that not everything, like parts of the body that have forward kinematic, they still don't match. Even if you have forward kinematic, like from the pelvis, these parts still don't match exactly the animation, and this is obviously a bug. They should match it, and now this is fixed and they will work correctly. And then here we'll see a pretty long demonstration where after that, okay, here we just see that they work correctly. After we turn on, you can see that they're the same as the original animation. And then here there was a small talk and a demonstration that you can reach with dynamic behavior. You can like if you apply enough force, you can try to make this hand stay in the same place as it was in the original animation, but make the whole character like get secondary motion. But it doesn't work very well. We have a plan to make like IK inverse kinematic behavior for this secondary motion, but we didn't actually. It doesn't work yet. There are some bugs in it. Okay, let's speed it up here. Okay. Now, something we announced on Twitter, we created a new direction controller for the pelvis in auto posing, so you can twist the character. And at first we created and it was always orthogonal to the, okay, let me pause and just show, it was always orthogonal to this line, and in cases like this it looked forward, which was not intuitive. So now it is orthogonal to a line that basically connects the middle of the feet and the neck, which is nicer. The line is the same, which works better. So yeah, we are more or less happy with it. It does have strange behavior in some cases, but it's probably the best we can do for now. And you can see how it affects the lower part of the body, which is actually pretty cool. It really helps. Okay, there was actually also a bug reported in Discord, and it's about shoulders that went down because of the T-pose, and now we fixed it, and like we kind of changed the T-pose, and we also will try to fix the shoulders, like make them more, make it harder for the for the shoulders to go down. So we basically try to change it by changing the dataset. Okay, let's speed it up here. We're talking a lot probably. Okay, and so here we can see the teaser about, this is Cascader Mobile, and we added AR features to it, and here you can see how the AR works, and I hope to actually pretty soon make a video on that, like with a nice demonstration of how AR can actually work inside mobile Cascader. Okay.
First question about mobile. Any estimated time when we can try it?
I think that after the release, because we really don't want to, like, it is really not polished much. Okay, so there's basically some other stuff about mobile. It is really not polished yet enough, so and we don't want to like give out a raw version that will not be nice. It will like maybe create a bad image. So we really want to polish it, but I think that the estimations are like, I think less than half a year actually, maybe 4 or 5 months. I think we'll try to make it like in 4 or 5 months, like probably after the release. Actually, for mobile, it's we really want to push out of physics even more, because it's much harder to manipulate and control everything on mobile, and yeah. But it's a very interesting experience, I have to say, and I really like the AR idea, and we implemented it. Again, not ideal. You have to like tweak a bit around it. Yeah, but it's very nice. So yeah, I think in like 4 months we will have some first versions. By the way, unfortunately, they will be working only on iOS, because Android, or I don't know, it's like PyTorch doesn't want to support Android. So yeah, we have problems compiling for Android. Seems like Facebook doesn't like Android, I don't know. So so they don't support it. Or maybe it's harder to support, I don't know. Okay, so that's basically it.
Another question about mobile from Solid. Will it export cast files that we will able to edit on PC, or it will be by VX directly?
Yeah, well, right now it doesn't work with FBX or Cask files. Right now all we have in mobile is exporting video. And I think that maybe like we're still actually thinking about the concept, because for like probably the most interesting concept is that a lot of people like use it to create, I don't know, videos for their social media. If we're able to lower the boundary enough so it is actually possible to for like any person to download it and create some funny animations with it, or maybe with people who like are ready to actually go in details but really like it, and they're not animators. That would be like the most interesting idea, but it means we have to lower the boundary like a lot, so it will be good for general public, and they won't need this kind of features. They will just need the render, which is easier. I think that Cask files are certainly possible, because we basically use the same format of the scene. We'll just need a small like feature to support loading like scene files, but that's not hard to do. So I think that yes, probably we'll add Cask files for sure. I'd say that FBX is probably harder to do, but maybe we will add it too. So yeah. But thank you for asking. We will try to do the Cask files for sure. Maybe also we are sharing the file.
Another question. Will Cascadeur Mobile slow down the development of the PC version, or is there a separate team for that?
No, it doesn't slow down. At least not significantly. And actually, because we want to concentrate on the desktop version, the mobile will be after the release. We don't want it to stand in front of the desktop version. So desktop is still the priority for us. But it speaking about if they're trying to push each other for the resources, no, they're basically all the features we have in the desktop version. Like we have the core of the program in the desktop version, and we reused that core of the program inside the mobile. So it's not like written from scratch. No, it basically used the same core, and it's just the UI that is different. But those are basically different people who are making the UI for the for the desktop version, and people who are making the UI for the mobile version. They're like I don't think they can intersect even potentially, because those are different languages, different environments, different. So they're totally different. So it's not possible to intersect them. So no. I think where the resources are like not separated, it's the management team, like those who actually write the tasks and manage everything. So it's mainly for our time. Because I'm the CTO, so I do a lot of management. So it's our time that is hard to like. It's hard for us to be there and there, because those are the same people who create tasks for mobile and for desktop. So it's like this.
comments, questions. Solid is
By the
very
way,
happy about hearing this. Cool. He would be happy with just Cask files being able to export or import on mobile, and he's looking forward to this development more. And almost similar question from Aaron. That he thinks that would be great to have cloud-based storage so you can easily use same files on PC and mobile. Will we have this, or it?
we're
Just,
hoping to do it at some point of time, but of course it's a feature that is like more complicated. But yeah, it would be great. It would be great if you could basically upload to this cloud storage and access it via desktop Cascadeur, via the website, via the mobile. Yeah, I think in long term, definitely we will try to push for it. By the way, guys, if you have questions, you can ask them in the voice chat.
it's questions from YouTube, so
yeah, I see, but they're asked by the same people that actually already asked in the voice chat. So, and it actually encourages me a lot when you ask in the voice chat. To be honest, but of course you can do it as you want. But I would be very happy if you used the voice chat.
And another question from YouTube. It's from Ranbir about what you were showing about this mobile version. So you don't rotate camera like on the PC, but rather rotate the phone itself. Do you have some thoughts making a bridge functionally between PC and mobile Cask, like start blocking with auto-pausing on mobile, transfer file to PC? That's like same questions as well.
About the camera, by the way, yeah, if you go to AR mode, then of course you don't rotate it, but you can rotate the scene. But yeah, it's. I think I won't go into much details right now, but there are different modes for rotation. But if you're not in AR mode, then the camera basically behaves the same. So you can still rotate the camera. It is very much as it is in desktop.
So how that will be adjusted or reality mode will be a bit different between usual mode and this mode.
Well, yeah, it will be different. The camera control, of course, will be different. If you're using AR mode, then you control the camera by just moving your phone. And you can rotate the scene, basically. Not the real world. It's a question of in which coordinate system do you think you are? So you can rotate different coordinate systems. And move if different coordinate systems. If we're talking about that, then yeah. Okay. Are there any other questions?
No, there is no. For this moment, another questions from YouTube. So maybe in Discord, someone want to ask. Any questions are welcome for us.
I have a little question about the feature you shown the last time about the new interpolation. What was called spherical?
Yeah, spherical interpolation.
It will be in this version or not?
Like in the next version,
yes.
Clamped interpolation for for spherical. How do you call it? Spherical interpolation for directions will support clamp interpolations. Yes, it will be in the next version.
Great. Thank you.
Welcome.
New question from Solid. When the new version is releasing?
our current plan is the end of summer. You know, sometimes something goes not according to the plan, so we don't really like to make the timings really strict. But yeah, the current plan is like at the very end of summer, maybe the start of autumn, but somewhere there.
Okay. I have another question about this new version. The other feature I would like to see is the cycle with offset. You know, if you're making walk cycle, you don't return back to 0, but continue to walking.
Yeah. We'll try to actually. We'll try to do it. We'll try to add this feature.
Great.
I can't guarantee it, but if you'll watch the streams, so you'll know for sure if we will do it or not, because I will show it here once it is done.
I'll try. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Okay.
Solid is something writing right now in chat.
Oh, Solid. But I think you participated in the voice chat. You can.
Yeah.
You can use it, but
Maybe he's shy. Solid. Can you ask your question by voice? Just a second. He's writing something more. He says that he wishes that he could talk, but he's into meetings at work for this moment.
okay.
The question from chat from him was the graph editor one of the windows that could be turned off.
I think not turned off, but probably moved. I think they actually went even further. I didn't test it, to be honest, but now it by default creates as a separate window. But yeah, you can move it, and you can drag it out and put it on a different screen, or put it with the timeline, which could be convenient if you have a large screen.
It was the answer for his question. We could move it for that now. Thanks.
Okay. Okay.
Some additional cheers from YouTube. Very innovative. Hope you will achieve everything that you planned.
Yeah, we'll try to. Okay, so I think if basically, as I understand, the questions are like that's basically all the questions.
Just another question. Sorry, I forgot. There is something I think you find in the plans on the
Trello board.
Call it. Yeah, the adding the animation layers.
Yeah.
Is that for the next version, or?
I don't think that will be in the next version, and to be honest,
Okay.
I don't think it will be pretty soon, because I honestly don't actually even know how to add them, considering we have this IK-FK switch. So maybe we can discuss at some point of time. But I remember we had some discussions, and we decided that basically if you have like several animations, like not animations layers, but like, I don't know, tracks, or actually FBX even supports, you can have several different animations inside one FBX, And so if you could have that, and you could easily copy paste, so you basically you put on an animation, and then you can you can kind of save it, and then you work on top with a different animation, and they're not like being added together, but you have that previous animation there, and you can set it as target animation, for example, and use I don't know, Twin Machine to actually to go to that animation, like to blend your animation with that animation that was the original one, then it will cover it. Or at least it will cover some cases. Yeah. So maybe in the future we will add that.
I was thinking something like that you can just like see the final result, but keep like the layer that you can switch on and off. How to say that?
Yeah, but
explain that.
If you're talking about like adding a layer, that one is really different. That one is really difficult. If you have, for example, you have like the main animation, and then you try to add like, I don't know, glitches to it, or
yes, exactly.
Yeah, but that one is hard, to be honest, because of how the interpolation is structured and how it is all smoothened. So yeah, that one's pretty hard. Maybe, I don't know, to be honest, how to implement it. Again, maybe there can be some workarounds, like applying some stuff or something. But yeah, basically that's the answer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So maybe other questions appeared in the YouTube while we were speaking.
No, there is no additional questions for this moment. Just right now, would the next version finally fix the wording for the Twin Machine filter? The slider still only has previous and next on the opposing ends.
I'm sorry, I couldn't. Can you read the last part again, please?
The slider still only has quote previous and next on the opposing ends.
Oh, I see. It's still not fixed. Yeah, but we will fix it. I think that's not hard to fix. So, yeah. Sorry about that. I think it was reported before the latest version. So, yeah. I see it's so they're inconsistent. So I set inverse forward, but it still shows previous next. So yeah, that's an error.
Sorry, me again. I remembered something I seen in your stream here. At one moment, you show something else that it seems that there was a video reference playing. No?
Yeah, you can do video reference right now. We actually plan to improve it. But you can do it right now too. You just have to. You can create a plane, but you have to do everything manually. Like you create a plane, and then
I mean, right now I'm importing frames, so I cut the video frame by frame and importing them. You can import the video already. Video file, I mean.
We plan to do it for the next version, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
If we do it, you will see it on our streams.
That's what I was asking, because now I have to cut the.
Yeah, but it will basically do the same. It will cut automatically.
Inside.
Yeah, it will cut inside. Yeah.
Great, because I have to go to another program and cut them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One more question from Solid. Can we have the Twin Machine in small window or above the timeline, just outside of the scene setting step.
Yeah, I remember we had a conversation with our animators internally about this too. So I guess we will do it at some point of time. Obviously it's not done yet, but I think we'll add it. I'm not sure about the next version, but like long term, certainly yes.
Some more cheers from YouTube. Thank you for the stream. Very interesting once again. Alexander and the rest of the development team never cease to amaze.
Okay, thank you. Thank you guys.
Additional sentence from Solid about his question, maybe next to about Twin Machine, maybe next to the interval edit mode button.
Yeah, I think that if we put it on timeline and that was like the main idea, then yeah, I think it will be close to here, maybe to the right. Although I have to say it's a bit crowded already. But then I have a I'm using a laptop and it's like, I think it's like 125%, so it's all the buttons are bigger than on most screens. Okay.
So let's.
If there are no new questions, then let's, I think, wrap it up.
Hello. I have two questions.
Yeah, sure.
So the first one, I think you were talking about segment scale composition a little bit earlier, but I was wondering if that's going to be on this next update or if we have to wait a bit more.
It will be on the next update. Sure. We don't have any we basically don't have everything we have in the development. How do you call it? Branch. It will be in the next update. So everything I show here, it will be in the next update. If it was already added, it requires additional effort to hide it. Then, so we usually don't do that unless it is very unstable or very bad. So, yeah.
Got it. And then the second question I had, so I saw you did a bug fix on the graph editor, and I was wondering if you also look into the bug where the viewport playback doesn't update to the graph editor.
I'm not sure about it. How do we reproduce it?
Well, basically you put any keyframes, right, and then you adjust the graph editor. You change the tangent. So whenever you use a custom tangent, and then you press play on the viewport, it doesn't follow that tangent. I'm pretty sure I sent you a video on.
Yeah, I probably remember it now. Okay, now why did they put it? Okay, let me put it here. Okay, so let me just, for example, I didn't. It's very small. We have to change the default size you have with graph editor. So okay, so I put it up, and maybe it's better if I. Okay, so and when I change the tangent, and if I press play, okay, I remember you. I remember the report, but I can't seem to reproduce it right now. So if you put custom tangents and then you put press play. Can you correct me? What?
Oh yeah. So basically, you're doing it right. But I can't tell whether it's different or not. So if you scroll through the timeline, it may look different than when you actually press play.
Oh, but But you actually saw it on the. I remember you had somehow you made it obvious on the graph editor, but I don't understand how that could be done. I don't quite understand how that could be done. Okay, maybe maybe we can cover it next time. So I read before
that's good.
the problem. Yeah.
No worries. Think about it. Thank you.
Okay. So. Okay.
So I don't think that there will be more questions. Guys, any questions?
I think that we can wrap it up, and we'll answer the questions in the comment section if there will be more questions, and yeah, or maybe cover them next time. But thank you all for coming, and you can see how like it's not a very maybe early time for me, pretty so it's pretty in the evening here, but yeah, it really gives me the energy when you actually use, especially when you use the voice chat. So yeah, that actually gives a lot of energy. So thank you guys, and
yeah,
let's stop here.
Yeah, thanks for coming. We will have our next similar stream and after 2 weeks. And we will wait to you and on another stream so that will be dedicated to.
Yeah, I plan to cover rigging the next week. I plan to cover rigging to actually go into the scripts. I don't know, maybe it will be a bit boring, but I really want to give this information to somebody who might want to actually go inside the scripts and look how our rigging works. I will try to stay on the basic level, so maybe it will still be interesting even if you don't plan to go and edit the scripts, because the highest level is structured, I wouldn't say ideal, but it has some pretty good structure. It's not it's not a mess. So yeah, I will try to go through the structure and how the basic rig works, how it is generated, etc.
Yeah. So we are not saying goodbye forever. We will see you next week.
Okay.
Bye bye, friends.
Yeah, thank you a lot for coming. Bye.